We got our first look at the Nebraska football team on Wednesday here as the Huskers wrapped up practice 5. Hi, Sean Callahan for HuskerOnline.com. As media got to take in about 30 minutes of practice. And, one thing that jumped out to me right away were the tight ends, just that group in general. Guys like Austin Allen, Travis Vokalek. You had a lot of NFL scouts, and their eyes, when we were there at least, were watching those tight end groups. And talking to offensive coordinator Matt Lubick, that was not a surprise to him.
No question. Yeah, the scouts should be looking at those guys because, I think my last year at Oregon, we had 3 tight ends that all went to the NFL. And these are the best 2 that I've ever been around from a consistency, leadership, and just the way they practice. Coach Beck does a great job with them. They're making plays. We ask a lot from our tight ends because they have to be point of attack in the run game, but we also split them out as wide receivers, and they have to be able to make plays in the passing game. And so it's a lot on them mentally and physically, and they've done great.
And sticking on the offense, a lot of talk on Wednesday about running back. Marquise Stepp, particularly, I think, has come into camp a little bit further ahead than where they thought he'd be.
Yeah, well, it's still work in progress. We're rotating 5 guys. Marquise Stepp, the transfer, he's done some really good things, and this is really his first time taking reps because he was hurt in the spring, and he looks 100% ready to roll. Savion Morrison is rep with the 1s and 2s. He's doing some really good things. Gabe Irvin has made big steps, which we expected because you're a freshman, and your biggest steps you make, he was actually here in the spring, is from spring to fall, so he's doing some really good things. But and so is Marvin, and Ramir. Ramir's probably having his best spring since he's been here. So we've got good competition there.
Another player we talked to for the very first time since he's been at Nebraska because of COVID a year ago was wide receiver Xavier Betts, who said right now he's just in a different place and ready to take advantage of his opportunities.
I'd say my desire to get better has grown a lot more since the spring. In the spring, it was there, but it wasn't as big and as deep as it should have been. And just over the summer, I kind of found ways to improve that. So from then to now, it's just I want to get better more.
In general, Lubick likes this wide receiver group, and he thinks it runs fairly deep.
I think we have at least 6. I think we have more than that. I do. Our depth this year at receiver compared to last year is it's night and day because last year a lot of those guys were first-year guys. Now they've all been a year in the system, so we actually feel like we have a good 3 deep that can go in there and function and play and compete in football games and have success. You're gonna make me forget guys. Okay. Let's see. In no particular order, but we talked about Omar. We talked about Oliver Martin's having a good camp. Samari Torres is playing great. Wyatt Lure's playing great. Alante Brown is playing great. He was another guy that was hurt a lot last year that's healthy, that's doing a great job. Xavier Betts is doing some really good things. Brody Belt's doing some really good things. And that's not really talking about our freshmen. And again, I want to they're all doing a good job, but I want to hold on those guys until, make a fair evaluation once they kind of know what they're doing and get a little more confidence.
Oh, yeah, we're looking way better than last year. We have a great dynamic. We're all running fast. We're all playing hard. We go 3 deep. So, we're going to get a good rotation in. So, I can't wait. We're looking amazing.
When Greg Austin looks at his offensive line, I think the biggest thing he wants is versatility.
Yeah, we'd like to have 5 guys that we're pretty confident in, right? But, there's always a case where you need a swing guy. And, that's where I like where our depth is, because we have a few guys that have played multiple positions and I think that, as we continue to shuffle them around, and that's one of the things that we're doing right now is we're shuffling guys around, seeing, what else they can play, if you will, especially the guys that are not, working with the starting unit, and heck, a couple guys with the starting unit we're shuffling around to get some depth in other areas as well. So. As we approach season, you want to have a good confidence that the guys are, in some cases, asked to do a job that they've done before or they're familiar with. Whether it's a guard that's shifting over to center and snapping, and or a center that's shifting out to a guard or a tackle. In some cases, where that guy's confident in the assignment and then also the technique of it.
And there's no question right now the leader of this line is Cam Jurgens.
Oh, he's in a good spot. Cam's in a good spot mentally. He's in a good spot physically. He has a good rapport with his quarterback. He's one of our emerging leaders. And when I say emerging, I'm not talking about just doing your job. It's about the guy to the right and to the left of you. That's where we are with him. Heck, I just had a conversation with him right after practice, and our conversation was not about, did you do your job? Which in the past that it was like, hey, what do we got to get better at? We got to get better at our non-snap hand. We got to get better at this. I got to get better at that. Whereas today's conversation was, you need to hold other guys accountable a little bit more with some of the details. It's not the fact they don't know their job, it's more detail. Keeping those guys dialed in and locked in to what we're trying to get accomplished. And, if you're supposed to step with your right foot on a certain angle, then you got to do it. And there's no wiggle room to that. So that's where the guys are. There's a lot of horizontal leadership going on right now, and I'm proud of where Cam is in terms of his emergence as a big-time horizontal leader for us.
And freshmen like Teddy Prohaska and Henry Lutoski maybe won't be on the field this year, but they've shown a lot of promise for the future as well.
Big guys, especially Henry, really solid guy. Teddy's as tall as Bryce, really tall. I'm always looking up to him, but the greatest thing I could say about those guys, they work every single day. And things might not be perfect, but and you see it on film that they're busting the tail every play and trying to get themselves better, and I love that about them.
And overall, just the togetherness of this group is something that Piper mentioned.
Yeah, I like I said, this is the closest our offense lines have been for a while. Just the same guys in the same room, and we've been golfing in the summer and just been hanging out all the time. So it's another thing with your teammates, but just being great friends off the field, I think that plays huge dividends because you're willing to go the extra mile for that player. So
it's hard to believe now just 20 practices left before Nebraska takes the field against Illinois.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's already the 5th practice. I think for me, it means that you can't take a practice for granted. You have to come every single day, and every rep counts. And you can't take like I said, you can't take a play off because we have a job to get done. And I think the more you work, the better things are going to pay off. So
Huskers will be back on the field for practice number 6 on Thursday. With the Huskers in Lincoln, I'm Sean Callahan of HuskerOnline.com.